and we're ready for 184 pounds. These guys know each other. Kenny Courts has a history of winning against McCutcheon. Matt McCutcheon, the sophomore from Penn State. There's your redshirt senior, Kenny Courts, All-American last year. Finished 5th and had a real magical run in the NCAAs. In the quarterfinals, these two met. And Kenny Courts won that matchup in the quarterfinals of the NCAAs to get to the semifinals and secure his All-American. They met last year in the dual meet. Kenny Courts winning 4-2. Matt McCutcheon coming back from a slight knee injury. He suffered in the Illinois meet, and so this is his first time back. You see the big pad on his left leg.
Yeah, Tim,
McCutcheon, ranked number 9.
Tim, you mentioned that. We saw that, and it's good to see that with the position that he was in his knee there in that single leg finish that he was trying to ward off at the time. At that bout, you know, it's nice to see that, you know, a couple weeks later he's back in the lineup, because that could be almost look like a real serious one. These two guys, like you said, to have the history. But how about the job that Kenny Courts did last year, running through the constellations? I mean, finishing, you know, the 5th the way he did, and
it was tremendous.
It was, and it was really the difference maker. You know, you got to have guys on that Saturday morning if you're going to win a national title, that just create some breathing room here for you. And Courts was the guy that we're necessarily counting on. And that's why those Saturday morning matches, you know, you never miss them, because you just see these heroic performances, these old rivalries, you know, settled. And a lot of times the team performance, the team championships are decided in a meet like it's going to be probably this year. Probably, you know, Penn State thinks they have the type of team that can put 5 or 6 guys in the finals. May not have that many guys in the constellation. That would be good for them if they did, but most everybody else has got to make their way through those constellation brackets, and these are the guys, you know, McCutcheon for Penn State and Courts, if Ohio State's going to repeat, they'd have to have a good tournament, of course, and usually that's done on Saturday morning.
McCutcheon out of Apollo, Pennsylvania, a couple of 2.5 hours or so from here, Kiski Area High School. Kenny Courts, also from Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, an hour-and-a-half away, Central Dauphin High School. 2 PA young men going at it. Like I said, they have a history. Courts winning twice last year, the dual meet and the NCAAs. Courts, we talked about, he was 8th in the Big Ten and finishes 5th in the NCAAs. And I saw one of the great coach wrestler moments after he finished up, got his 5th place, and he just melded into Coach Ryan's arms in the back room, and with tears just thanked him for being patient with him, for staying with him. It hadn't been the best of years for Kenny Courts, but his coach believed in him, and the influence of the coach was seen all over that hug, and I just happened to be standing next to him, and I took a picture, actually a little video of it, and I still have it on my phone. I love those coach wrestler moments.
Well said, Tim, and these guys are not, you know, Courts' match are not wide open, so we have the opportunity to tell these type of stories. So
that's what I was real impressed by Nickel there and Martin. That was just all-out action. Both of them committing themselves and not afraid of the shot. There's a shot in by McCutcheon, and he's got the far ankle right there. He's on his hindsight there, and he's got 2 inside. 10 seconds left. Those are the kind of scoring you look for.
Well, he's in trouble here right now. Courts is with the that chest lock. You might want to bail on that.
And that's in, and there's no points there. He didn't get past, and so no points back. He was able to stay up, and McCutcheon with the takedown.
He needs to be within 4 inches. His scapula were way up.
Nice execution by McCutcheon there. Got in on the leg, got across to that far ankle, and got the 2 points. He'll start down now to begin the second period, out in front 2-0. Nothing like scoring inside 10 seconds left and riding out.
Well, McCutcheon has the number 9 ranking, even though Courts is the All-American. And where Courts has had difficulty is just like with this, is that you got guys that he hasn't come back from deficits very well this year. And that was probably that's why in the national tournament, for him being All-American was really a special moment, because it was really kind of an anomaly the way you've been wrestling all season and really most of this year. So,
common opponent in a very impressive win by McCutcheon over T.J. Dudley from Nebraska, who dominated Courts himself. And T.J. Dudley, one of the the wrestlers on Nebraska team we were talking about that gives them a really nice dual meet team. We'll see them on Friday, Northwestern at Nebraska on the Big Ten Network Live.
Yeah, there's
Fingers, let it
really
go.
not much going on between these two guys at this point here. But McCutcheon putting a little bit of weight on the head. You know, you kind of like to see him go after another shot right there. His mind is in the right place as far as now. Court's going to his single leg, out of reach. So he's going to work back to the neutral position. You know, the 84-pound weight class, of course, you got the returning champion in Gabe Dean. But there's a lot of guys back that are all Americans, and a lot of minds out there that are thinking that there might be as many as 3 or 4 guys that were on the podium last year that may not make it. And it's because of guys like McCutcheon, Dominic Abinator from Michigan, who's just been a hammer this year, and you know, guys that didn't place last year that have a legitimate shot at going, you know, climbing that podium.
You got Vic Avery from Edinburgh back in the mix of things. Nathaniel Brown, who's been right in the mix of things from Lehigh. Lehigh having a good year this year as well. And then, of course, Deckow from Old Dominion hanging right in there in the top 5. Into the second period, we're getting ready for the third. And this time, Kenny Courts will go down. He's trailing 3-0. There's no riding time. You got Ross Thatcher, assistant coach on the right. Jay Jaggers on the left, there on the screen of Tom Ryan. Jay Jaggers, 2-time NCAA champion, and he knew how to turn it on at the end of the year, didn't he, Jim?
Just the light switch, right? The days got longer and a little bit warmer, and that man became an animal,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, had a lot of, you know, it's just a big 141 pounder, but nice front trip there. Love that technique. Love that. And the guy has his nose over the toes again like that. Hit that front trip right there. It's well done. You know. And this would be a solid win.
Well, and a sigh of relief for Penn State, not necessarily about this match, but just about the future for McCutcheon after being in a very scary position there in the Illinois meet.
Yeah, now he's going to load him up for some back points potentially. The referee's in a good position to call it, so no count.
McCutcheon's trajectory, the needle is pointing up from a standpoint of gaining steam, and he gets to come out here after the injury, and he has to feel good about where he's at.
Well, Tim, the first thing you want to be out there is a tough out, right? You want guys to really work to have to beat you. And then the second thing is, you know, take advantage of your opportunities and catch guys when they're down and get some wins over these returning All-Americans and high-seeded guys and climb the ladder. And McCutcheon seems to be doing that.
We've talked about the Big Tens, hosted by the Iowa Hawkeyes in Iowa City. Iowa, of course, going to be right in there, vying for the Big Ten championship. And Ohio State and Penn State, ranked #1 in the nation. You better get your tickets because it's not going to be an easy ticket. It'll be sold out at Carver Hawkeye March 5th and 6th.
See that technique right there, Tim? Moving off the what, you know, if you just stand there with him, and McCutcheon just stands there with him, and it looks like he's pushing him out, but he goes and drops into that front trip. It's a great technique to keep control at the edge of the mat.
Okay, sir, stay still, set, top, go ahead.
Really like a lot of the new, you know, edge of mat calls as far as keeping the matches going. You know, guys are actually working themselves back in to the center. Fewer starts and stops. Courts with a long sit out and turn in.
And the crowd
got them tied up here pretty well.
And the crowd comes to their feet. What a tremendous crowd here. The elevated mat, the elevated crowd, the elevated roof at Rice Jordan Center.
And the elevated team score.
And the elevated team score, 19-9 is now the score for the home team.